Hey guys, welcome to the Bird's Nest. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all your NFL recaps, news, and gossip. So, I was trying to decide, do I want to do 3 separate videos? But no, I'm just going to do one. Traffic's looking good this morning, and I'll probably get to work in a timely fashion, knock on wood. The last time, it took me 2 hours to get to work. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was an accident. Anyway. I guess I'll start with the Browns because the other two are kind of small. So the Browns played the Jets yesterday. And I would say it was everything I expected it to be, but I didn't expect what happened yesterday. Tommy Rees started calling plays for the first time, and it did look better. Dylan looked better. He did get one sort of long pass. It looked really, really long. It was 20 yards, though. It looked really long. It had a lot of air. It was slow motion. But he pulled it off. He got him a 20-yard pass for a touchdown. So I had to give him props for that. Good job. He did a short pass, like a 9-yard pass to Njoku for a touchdown. Good for him. But there was a lot of bad, as is always the case with Dylan. You know, as I've been saying all along, even throughout the off-season activities, the reporters were saying that Dylan was inconsistent. He wasn't him. And so it's just, you're seeing it on the field. And in addition to that, at least during that time, maybe, I don't even know what's going through his mind, because he's never been better than Shedeur. He's never performed better than Shedeur since he's been a Brown. And so he knows that in the back of his mind. He knows that something's going on. He's saying, I'm not better than Shedeur. Getting all these reps, yay! I'm sure he's happy about that. The hell with Shedeur. He's a competitor. He's happy. He's not like, I ain't taking these reps. Shedeur should be getting them. He's taking them. They ain't working. You can't make a mid-talent more than what he is. So they've been trying, but it has never worked. I'm telling y'all that right now. People keep saying weird things, but Shedeur never had a chance to move up the depth chart for the Browns. And we see it now. Even if we, no one paid attention to the offseason like people normally don't, but I did, and plenty of people did because Shedeur was there. But still, not a lot of people were aware of what was being seen in OTAs and mandatory minicamp and training camp. But some of us were aware that Dylan was stinking up the place from day one and kept getting first-team reps and keeps getting all the first-team reps. So there's something going on with Shedeur, and it's still going on. Remember, I keep saying, I don't know if the collusion is still going on. Something's going on, because no matter what Dylan does and shows, and he does show that he's not good, they will not take him out of the game. So some people are now starting to accept that they're tanking on purpose, and that's why they're keeping Dylan in the game, is because they want to tank, and they think that they're tanking for a quarterback. I don't know why they're tanking. But I don't think they're tanking for a quarterback. They know who Shedeur is. I keep telling y'all that too. They see him in practice. They know who he is. Now, Kevin Stefanski doesn't like him, and I believe that's going to get him fired, and that's going to open a can of worms. We do know that Jimmy Haslam will tank because he had a coach, a former coach, after he was fired, come out and say he was given incentives to tank, to lose. That means every time they lost, this guy was getting kickbacks. Let's call it that. Call it what it is. And probably, I don't remember this part, but probably, well, I don't know if he was promised that his job was safe, or that he assumed that his job was safe because Haslam wanted him to lose. But his job was not safe because as a result of all the losing, he got fired. So, if we get that out of this, Kevin Stefanski, knowing that another coach got fired after being incentivized to lose, and he's still doing it, good for him. Bye. Bye. Get gone. Please. Kevin Stefanski got to go. But he's not, I assume he's not going to go right now because this is what Haslam wants. I don't know what Andrew Berry wants because he won't talk. And I'm not mad at him for not talking. Everybody be like, clean the shot, clean the shot. Everybody got to go. I don't want him to go. I don't want Andrew Berry to go because he's the only person in Shador's corner. I don't know if Haslam's in Shador's corner yet or not. I'm not sure. They're so weird. Like, you really can't get a read on them. But Andrew Berry, I don't know. You just never know whose idea it was to trade Kenny Pickett, trade Flacco, and leave it so that all you have is two rookies. That might have been Haslam and part of the tank. And the reason why they're not playing Shador is because Shador's going to win some games. If they throw him out there with the 3s and the 4s for the last 4 games. Oh, Mary Kay Cabot said this. Mary Kay Cabot said, she did an article yesterday. I guess as soon as Kevin Stefanski said, we're sticking with Dylan, she knew what her job was, because Mary Kay's job is to say what Kevin Stefanski wants her to say. That's her job until he's gone. And then she'll do it with the next guy. The whole Cleveland Browns culture, including their press, is toxic and corrupt and stupid. Most press doesn't just attack their players for nothing. Like, player ain't even playing, and we gonna attack him. I told y'all how we did Jimmy Horn Jr. in Charlotte. Before he was even playing, as soon as he joined the team, they treated him like one of Coach Prime's superstars. And they've been treating him like that ever since. They love him. No, not Cleveland. They're weird because of the weird culture of Jimmy Haslam's team. It's strange. They attack their players in the media. Shador is not the first one, and they're starting to do it to Dylan. Now, he ain't getting it full-fledged yet because some of those people still hanging on to their invite to Kevin Stefanski's Christmas party, like Mary Kay. Even Grossi, they know it's not Dylan, so they trying to come up with something that doesn't sound totally, but it does. It sounds retarded. It doesn't make sense. So she did this article naming all the reasons why Shador should not be starting. Why it's smart that Shador is not starting. And one of her reasons is too many games left. You can't give your third round draft pick 5 games and give your 5th round draft pick 9 games. What it got to do with the draft position? Dylan was clearly drafted way too high. Clearly. That much is abundantly clear. And I'm wondering if Jimmy Haslam was okay with that. Because as y'all probably heard by now, Kevin Stefanski and Dylan Gabriel have the same agent. If Jimmy Haslam wasn't made aware of that, when Kevin Stefanski decided to draft Dylan 2 rounds higher than projected, that's a fireable offense. That's something like embezzlement. So I hope that Haslam was aware of that they had the same agent, and that Stefanski was giving him the hookup worth hundreds of thousands of dollars by drafting him 2 rounds higher than he should have been. I don't even know that Dylan Gabriel should have been drafted. Anyway, so it was a terrible, terrible game yesterday. On both sides. You didn't know who was going to win. Poor Justin Fields, he's terrible. He's been terrible. I don't know why the Jets gave him that money. He doesn't make much for a quarterback, but he makes $20 million a year. That he's grossly overpaid, and I knew that when they signed him. He got that $20 million a year on the strength of the Steelers winning 4 of the 6 games he played in. And in most of those games, the defense won. And Justin was barely a factor. and Pittsburgh fans were clamoring to keep him. I was like, y'all don't know what y'all asking for. I told y'all, I followed Jason Weaver. I wasn't following the Browns the whole time he was there, but I was following Jason Weaver, and I would hear through him how poorly Justin was doing, and he hated it. He really liked Justin, and Justin is so likable. He is a sweetheart from what we have seen in the media, and you hate to say he sucks, but he does. And so I already knew that from Jason Weaver, who really hated to say it, but the truth shall set you free. And so he was terrible yesterday. He was horrible yesterday. He had 6 completions. 6 in a how long games? An hour? An hour of playing time. Okay, and maybe he played 30 of it. They won the game on punts. On kick returns. Punt return, kickoff. Then the first anyway, they got both of their they got 2 touchdowns on returns. That won them the game, thank goodness, because Justin wasn't giving them anything. Special teams won the game for them. He did have 1 long pass for like 40 yards, which gave him a total of 54 yards, I think it was. Something like that. I expect him to be benched after this, because they had tried to bench him before. Oh, well, it depends on if Tyrod Taylor is, because they had benched him, Fields. But then Tyrod got injured. By the way, Tyrod and Shador exchanged jerseys yesterday. The 2 QB2s that's sitting behind, straight garbage. They exchanged jerseys. I'm sure Dylan went in the locker room in shame. Dylan looks defeated. He's already not good. And now he looks defeated. And I remember them, one of the things they were saying, their excuse for not playing Shador from Jump Straight, is that they didn't want to break his confidence. They know they can't break Shador's confidence. They know that. It was just an excuse. One of all these excuses that they keep rolling out minute after minute after minute, as Dylan stinks up the place. But they said they didn't want to break Shador's confidence. You can't break Shador's confidence. You're actually trying to break his confidence by not playing him, because you know. But you can't, because the people that you're putting out in front of him are not good, which is what he knew, which is why he wanted to go to Cleveland, because he knew he was better than those quarterbacks. He didn't know that Kevin Stefanski didn't like him. He should have known, because Kevin Stefanski didn't meet with him, from what I heard. Now, I'm not sure. I wasn't there, and hearing what people say on social media, you don't know what's true. But allegedly, Haslam And Andrew Berry met with Shador and Coach Prime twice, and Kevin was never there, allegedly. Shador should have knew something was up from that he was not going to get a fair shake from Kevin Stefanski. So he just never had the opportunity. So now that Mary Kay is saying that Dylan should have more games than Shador, you know, we kind of thought that the Ravens would be the last game for Dylan. But that would still give Shador more games than him, because he would have 6 and there'd be 7 left. If that's their thing, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't even know if that matters. Mary Kay might have just made that up. The goal might be, because I think the goal of this whole season is to humble Shador and maybe allow him to mature. It's harsh, for sure. It's unfair, for sure. And I know y'all gonna hate me for saying this, but maybe it was needed. What if Shador was allowed to enter the league according to his skill and his goal? And he would have been a top 5 pick. Can't tell me nothing different. He could have, well, you know what? Cam was the only quarterback they took high. Dart was drafted in the first round, but later, as he deserved. Shador should have been ahead of him. So let's say Shador got drafted in the first 15 picks, as deserved. To me, top 5. But that depends on what the teams think and how much they, I'm crossing that out. Say Shador was picked in the top 5 like he should have been. Well, his goal, for I don't even know how long, and it was Coach Prime's goal too. Him and Coach Prime compete. If you see them interacting, there's always a little competition going on there. Even when Shador went to visit him in Colorado, and Shador said he knew that Coach Prime needed some love, Coach Prime said, "You do too. You do." They're always competing. I love that about them. It's just those two. But Shador wanted to be drafted higher than his father, and Dion wanted that too. So imagine had that happened. Guys, Shador is cocky, y'all. I don't have a problem with that. Like, people have a problem saying that because they think it's wrong and he shouldn't be that. God damn it, that's who he is. He's cocky. He is arrogant. So, had he been things gone the way he planned, is it possible that Shador would have been completely out of control? Talking ish to the coach. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not saying I know that, but it's a possibility. So maybe this maturing that he will have done over this season was needed for him. Because I say that to say this. I truly believe that the conclusion of the collusion is that we'll make him available in the 5th round. We will make him available in the 5th round, and that way he doesn't get to be QB1. We got to take all the other quarterbacks too, and somebody who takes a quarterback, it would be better, or has a quarterback, it would be better for them to draft him so that he can't be QB1 in his first season. Make him sit, make him learn, make him mature away from his father for the first time in his life. That's what I believe happened. Because everybody came for him in the 5th round. The Eagles, the Ravens, the Browns traded up to get him in the 5th round. Had the collusion not occurred, well, I think there's a chance that Andrew Berry would have picked Shedeur with the number 2 pick that they gave away to the Titans. I believe that they gave it away to the Titans because they knew they were going to move hell and earth to get Shedeur when he was available to be drafted in the 5th. Yes, they knew he was going to be there in the 5th because that was the plan. And thank goodness, lucky them, Shedeur and Coach Prime turned down the Eagles and the Ravens, and they traded up. We got to get up there. Because the team that went first in the 5th, I can't remember who it was. I did look it up. It was a team that didn't need Shedeur. Or at the time, they didn't think, was it the Raiders? Who was it? Vikings. It was the Vikings. They didn't need Shedeur. They could have used him because they had the injury. But they didn't need him. So they didn't take him. And then you had the Ravens and the Eagles coming. And he turned them down, and then maybe Cleveland heard about that. I don't know. So they traded up to get him because they wanted him. I think it's a possibility that the plan is for Shedeur to be QB1 next season, because this season they ain't letting him have it, and they going to humiliate him by putting him in the last 4 games when no starters are playing. Or even if they are playing, they playing real careful, trying not to get injured so they can be ready for a training camp. So I think that is what's going on. They're tanking for wide receivers and offensive linemen, not a quarterback like some of these dumb fans think. They know who Shedeur is. And he can work with this offense. You see, they haven't even really been concerned about the wide receivers. I've never been concerned about the wide receivers. And it's funny that they also are not concerned about wide receivers, because they know they have a good wide receiver core just waiting for Shedeur. That's what I think. And I just totally got off track. I'm supposed to be doing a recap. But y'all, the game was terrible. It was terrible. It was painful to watch. I used to hate watch Dylan, and that was sort of fun, but it's not anymore because Dylan looks defeated. And I keep telling y'all, he's caught up in this thing just as much as Shedeur. They're humiliating him every week, just like they want to do to Shedeur at the end of the season, I believe. It ain't got nothing to do with what round somebody was drafted in. It has to do with the fact that Shedeur is better than Dylan, and they don't want that to show, because then all the corruption, the corruption, it's hard to, like, they're so bold that they barely try to hide it, and so that's what it is. They don't want the corruption to show. Not to mention, Kevin Stefanski does not love Shedeur. He don't like him. So Shedeur's just gonna have to keep staying prepared. If I was Dylan, I would say I was hurt. Like, you gonna get me off this field. You are not gonna keep embarrassing me and having me have to deal with this social media nonsense every week. My hamstring hurt. That's what you need to do. And let Shedeur go in. And take the heat off of him. But yeah, that game was terrible. So let me move on to Colorado. Colorado lost, and they are out of bowl contention, but it was awesome for us Colorado Buffs fans, because Juju looked fantastic for his first college football start. He didn't win, but he did some good things. He looked better than Salter looked all season. And we know he has that drive and that heart. So the future looks bright. He spoke about next season, which hopefully means he plans to stay. And hopefully Seton will stay and Omarion will stay, and they can tear it up next season. And all of them can get into the league. And people can put respect on Coach Prime's name, because they're very much disrespecting him right now. Some people are saying he needs to be fired, as if he isn't doing better than has been done there in years, even with a losing season. So they're rebuilding this year, and it looks like they have their vital pieces to get their offense going. Juju was back in now. Caden can run himself. So their run game was better than I've ever seen it with Caden. And it was interesting that once Juju got back in, the run game fell apart again. And he tried. He tried to use the running back. But it didn't work out. It just wasn't good. I don't know why does it have to be pass or run? Why can't it be both? So they got to figure that out. Maybe they need a better running back. I don't know. But the future looks bright for Colorado. Now, I have been saying since last year, Michael Penix was one of my guys. I liked the guys that came out last year, the quarterbacks. And Michael Penix was one of my guys. Well, I'm officially off of him. Thankfully, they finally had a game at 9 or 9:30. Were they in Germany? Maybe they were in Germany. So I got to watch that game, because, the Browns always play at 1, which makes it hard for me to watch other games, because all the games come on at 1. But I watched Michael versus the Colts, and I don't know how they stayed in that game so well and made it competitive, but I think this is my first time watching a whole Michael Penix game. I'm off him. I'm off your boy, because me being a Shador fan, it was weird seeing someone who had challenges with accuracy and anticipation. That was strange. That is Michael Penix. Now I see why Atlanta is not winning. He's got a lot of work to do. They need a quarterback, as far as I'm concerned. They need a quarterback. I don't know how they stayed in that game yesterday. Maybe the Colts had jet lag or something. I don't know. They won. So that was it. My sort of not really a recap. I tried to make it a recap, but the game was bad. It was bad. It was bad. The two quarterbacks were terrible. So, that's that. Guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. And eventually, things are going to get better. Shador's going to get out there. He's going to ball. He's going to be legendary. We gotta wait. And we don't want him out there when Kevin Stefanski is there. Tommy Rees is cool. He schemed a lot. I should have said this. He schemed a lot of passes for Dylan. Something that Kevin Stefanski never did. And Dylan still didn't get an interception. So stop being so scared, Kevin. But no, you can keep being scared, because you need to go anyway. And I believe you are going. You're leaving. You're going to be gone at the end of this season. So, that's that. Y'all have a good day. Happy Monday. Mwah.